You're listening to Living Out Loud with my mom, Michelle Flamer. Yep, she's a flamer and proud of it. Get ready to learn about queers in your communities doing great things every week.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for coming back to Living Out Loud. I'm your host, Michelle. Anyways, I'm really excited by today's guest. I know I say this every frickin' time, but I really do get so excited. And if you were in on our pre-chats, you would know why. So that's the fun part. Anyways, today on Living Out Loud, I have the joy of sitting with someone whose voice is steady, brave, and deeply human. Becca Eppley is a writer and truth teller whose work appears in the powerful anthology Avoided No More, where she shares an intimate, courageous essay about coming out later in life and reclaiming her story. She also writes beautifully on Substack, inviting readers into conversations about identity, healing, belonging, and becoming. Becca's journey is one of unlearning old narratives, choosing authenticity over expectation, and finding community in places she once thought she didn't fit. She brings a softness, a clarity, and a grounded strength that reminds us what it means to come home to ourselves. I'm honored to dig in with her today. Hi, Becca.
Hey, Michelle, thank you for having me. I'm so
You're
excited to
welcome. Is it fun to
continue.
hear like your own little intro?
It's weird. I mean, in a good way, but I'm used to being on the other side of the podcast from
I
years
know you
ago.
said you had a podcast and we were giggling about it and because people, she started to try to podcast me. She was trying to host me. And I'm like, "No, no, this is about you tonight. This is not about me." So yeah.
Just naturally do it. Like it's not even conscious. I'm just like, tell me your story, because that's what's so amazing about it. Like community is formed around stories, and
Yes.
that's how we grow and evolve. And so I get so enthralled in meeting new friends like Michelle and just listening to what pieces have come into place in your life that have brought you to this point, and hearing the potential. Like I also love hearing the potential, and just seeing people light up about, oh, there's still so much more. And I've also had an amazing journey too.
Yeah. It really I mean that's why I love just the format of podcasts because I don't have to be sitting in front of a TV when Barbara Walters and the 90s Oprah, when I really, really appreciated that, right? But
Mhm.
like you would sit and I would watch like Barbara Walters interview, someone who she was interested in. And in the early years of Oprah, where I was talking about this on another episode with another guest from TikTok that I met, and we were talking about how Oprah's curiosity allowed us to be more curious too. And I think that for me is like kind of where I sit in that, in a little bit. And the other side of it is like, we're all here to hopefully push the needle with what's going on in the world right now.
Absolutely.
So these human stories is really, really for me, really amplifying our community's voices is just the mission itself. And I get the reward of unwrapping each guest like a little gift and present for myself, right? And hopefully for the listeners, because my listenership is going up, I'm getting more engagement, and that is all what I want. I want some young person, a youth to just come across maybe a coming out story or a story that sounds like them and they don't feel as alone in the world. It's all, I think that's to me what community really is like, why you want to build it is so that we all don't feel alone. So
Absolutely.
before we go into the essay and the book, again, kind of what you said, like you have to understand where someone comes from so you can understand where they are now. And I would love, and in the essay you do talk about, so I'm not going to be a spoiler. So, but the way she writes it, guys, is going to still be different than the way that you're going to tell it right now. But yeah, so I'm happy you're here and would really love to know
Yeah.
what made you.
Yeah. Um, It's really interesting. One thing I've really been delving into in the last several years is my ancestral lineage and where I came from and how that has shaped me. I really believe that part of what makes me me is that I'm a change marker in generational trauma of women who have not been able to show up as who they are. And I almost continued that lineage. And I consider myself spiritual, not religious anymore. I was brought up in the Southern Baptist Church. My dad was a minister, very heavily indoctrinated into Christian nationalism and all that that entails. Um, but there was a moment where I have always felt that there's something more inside of me. And I've known this since I was little, but I've been scared of it. And my religious conditioning taught me to be scared of my own thoughts, be scared of my own knowing. And I can look back and see how I have been walking the path out to my coming out story, which publicly did not happen until 4 years ago. And I was 40 in my 40s. I'm still in my 40s, just barely. But it was a long journey. And there's part of me that I have moments that I'm sad that it took that long. And then there's another part of me that knows that I had to walk that path and there was protection in it because of my religious upbringing. So I came out publicly in 48. I came out publicly about 5 years ago. I was married to a cishet man we were together for 16, married for 4. We have 2 wonderful children, and it has never felt fulfilling. And it has nothing to do with him. It's because I was not living my truth. And I didn't know what my truth was. And so that's really part of my journey is uncovering who I have always been. And there was many layers to that. I have not been a person who would have said, I have always known that I am a lesbian and attracted to women. But I can now look back to 5th grade and I can see, oh, Katie Carlack, my best friend on the basketball team. Yeah. Um,
Girl,
so
that slumber party back in
like,
1995 was pretty smoking. She rubbed up against me.
oh,
We shared popcorn.
I'm there. Let me tell you. And it was always weird to me because I was like, from the outside, you would think that I did like boys, but I was doing it because that's what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
That the compulsory heterosexuality is very strong, very strong. And I have always felt like I wanted something more, like I was uncomfortable in my skin and I could never name it. And part of it was the anxiety of religious conditioning, not even knowing that had to do with my sexuality and my desires, but just I couldn't get above water with my religious conditioning. And it was amazing in the last 5 years to live in my authenticity. It's not easy, but it is the most freeing thing I have ever experienced. I have hated my body all of my life. I have
Mm-hmm.
always struggled with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure, I have days, but I love who I am now. And
Good.
I thrive as a lesbian. Again, it makes it sound like it's so easy peasy. You just come out and no, there was several years of hell.
I'm sure.
Divorce is not easy. It
Yeah.
is, I understand why people would choose to stay in marriages
Mm-hmm.
because it is really, really hard.
Yeah. It
But
really is.
I I would do it again. I would
Aw.
do it all over again. It is, I want so much for people who feel stuck to know that on the other side of those really hard moments is a you who you have not experienced fully until you've walked that path. And that you is someone, like, I just sit and smile sometimes because I'm just like, I feel so good in my skin. Like, I don't feel any pressure to be the patriarchy. I don't feel any pressure to be the best wife. I don't feel any pressure to show up in ways that is not an authenticity and a resemblance of who I truly am. And
But hold on,
yes.
before it becomes glorious and before you're on that,
Mm-hmm.
when you're on the other side of all the pain and the dark nights of the soul and the messy middle that the later in life, the Club Lilies on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. And
Yep. Yep.
I've heard so many stories because I'm friends with a lot of the group here in Arizona. And it feels like you're in jail is what I've heard before. You feel so stuck in so many moments because a lot of times they are stay-at-home moms. They don't have the financial piece to like step into the freedom. And I mean, I read the story, so I know a little bit more.
I was like,
I don't want to give all of it
no,
away, but
that's,
take us back to the moment when you got kicked out. What did that feel like?
I always thought I would be the one to ask for divorce.
Hmm. So were you just pissed because you didn't get to do it first? I'm
No,
just,
well, later, yes, but but I always thought I would be the one, but I didn't because of the financial part.
mm-hmm.
Because I had been a stay-at-home mom for 6.5 years. I had just started going back to work on a part-time basis. And I always thought, well, so this was my plan. My plan was 5 more years. I'll figure out my finances. The kids will be through high school. It'll be fine. I can make 5 more years. I can do this.
Yeah.
And I went to this really cool tea apothecary here in Charlotte. Um, and one of my queer chosen family, one of my best friends, we sat there. And for the umpteenth time, I talked about how I felt trapped, how I didn't see a way out, how I don't think I can do this anymore, but I had no idea how to move forward. And it felt really unfair.
Mm.
And I felt like I had done all in some religious upbringing, evangelical upbringing. There's this thought, if you do all the right steps, if you follow all the right rules, then life turns out in some magical fair way, which I personally think is bullshit. I think we have different journeys that evolve and grow us, and there are moments that we have these amazing growth experiences that feels rewarding, but it's not an end game. It's it's the long stretch, and that's where the reward is. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that mindset. And whew, so I came home from that meeting or that tea, 3 hours later, and my husband at the time was waiting for me. The kids had gone to his
He must have
parents.
had a weird intuition that night because you were having these like big epiphanies anyways. Like he was really like you guys were on the same page in many ways.
That's weird that you say that. I've never processed it that way. I've been in therapy and I've talked, but I think it's really interesting. I can receive you saying that right now because, um, I'm not angry anymore, but I couldn't give him that credit.
Hmm.
Thank you for saying that. Um, but yeah, we were and he had actually been planning it for 3 months. And so in the moment, I felt very betrayed.
Of
He
course.
had everything worked out for his side of things. And I was like,
Well, he still
what?
pulled the rug from under
Oh,
you. It wasn't
absolutely.
I mean, I still feel like it was unfair how it
Oh, yeah.
played out when he could have had a very calm conversation with you. So I I want to validate your feelings in that moment
Thank
because
you. Yeah.
that is just painful to come home.
Hmm.
No matter if you're straight, gay, or whatever, your spouse does this, it's just going to be painful.
Hmm. Yeah. And I, my friend, this is one of our favorite lines that we'll probably say for the rest of our life. I should probably get another tattoo with it on my arm. But in that meeting, or that conversation for tea, my friend Tommy asked me, "Do you believe that the universe conspires in your favor?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "I don't really know. I just, I have been in looking back, I can see I've been in survival mode so long
Yeah,
and just trying to make it through." And so now Tommy and I joke that we had our conversation. I came home. My husband told me he wanted a divorce. And Tommy's like, and then the universe told you it's time to get the fuck out, Becca.
that's right. That's right.
Um, and so it's excruciating and terrifying. And there was panic attacks and lots of extra
Yeah.
therapy and lots of anxiety meds and lots of chosen family coming around me. It was the best pivot to another path that my life, I could not even imagine being here today. In that moment, there's no way I would have seen myself here. Um, I One of my fears, one of my traumas from childhood is finances. And so the money part is really scary for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And divorce is expensive.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like, getting a divorce is actually a very privileged thing in some ways because it takes money and finances.
Yep.
Um, and so navigating that in North Carolina, the South,
They don't want you
uh,
to get divorced down there.
no, they don't. They want you to wait a year after you have said you want a divorce, and you have to live separately for a year. So it is, and I have my parents hoping that, and his parents hoping that we'll reconcile. And it's like,
Still,
well,
or at that time.
no, but within that time, that
I
year,
got you. Okay.
yeah. And my mom's not a big fan that I'm a lesbian, so there's also that aspect as well. But it really was. It was hell and saving grace all at the same time.
So
Uh,
now what's your thought about the universe conspiring for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It was for
Absolutely.
your highest good because
Yeah.
look at the art that continues to come out of that.
Mm-mm,
And that cannot be a sin. That cannot be for nothing, right?
mm, mm-mm.
I mean, I love the fact that you reached out to me and it's so great because I it just tells you, it told me this woman really wants to share her story. You want to be a voice and you want to help others through your words.
I am One of my life's mantras is that we are built for community.
Yeah.
That looks like a lot of different things. It's not the same for everybody. Everybody's on different journeys, but how we form community is showing up.
Hmm.
And everybody shows up in different ways. And for me, showing up is telling my story,
Mm.
is saying, this is who I am. We may have a similar story. We may not. Parts of my story may resonate. They may not resonate with you. But I want us to show up so we can engage and journey together. Whether we're on this exact same details, it's okay. And that's something that, coming out of a religious background, we're always taught we have to believe the same thing, we have to walk the same path. And
You're
what I
drinking the
look,
juice, right?
oh,
You're drinking the fruit punch
oh my God,
at the
right?
Saturday social.
But that's what's so, I'm very grateful for the queer community and queer family that I have. And that's another gift. Um, I have had queer community before I knew I was queer. Let me rephrase that. Before I acknowledged to myself that I was queer. Because
Love it.
I've known on some level for a long, long time. But I felt ashamed, you know? And so I've just pushed it aside. And when something is labeled as a quote sin, then it can't possibly be what I was
How,
thinking.
how did you take it from shame to this is me?
I have been in therapy on and off for 15 years. And the first thing I had to do was to learn that my existence is enough.
Hmm.
That if I do nothing else, but I show up tomorrow, not happy, not exuberant, but I choose to show up, that's enough. Like, uh, that's so hard because we're such a capitalistic, productive, show us why you're worthy to be heard. No, like I would love for my essay and my work to get huge and a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sell my soul for it. It's not worth it. Also,
Yeah.
it's really great going into my 50s. I give a lot less fucks now.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts around the different decades because I'm closer to 60 now than I am anything else. And it's really I remember, and I'll bring Oprah up again, but I remember her saying like she's all when she hit her 50s, I remember those episodes because she and Gail would start to do like their, drive across the country, and they really like got to the space of I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. And I think the 30s is really that beautiful decade of figuring out who you want to be,
Mm.
where you're going to be. It's still a little bit more of like identifying around your job and do you have kids yet? Or if you don't want kids, okay,
Yep.
what are we going to do? Am I going to be married? Am I not going to be married? And then in your 40s, you're like, for women especially, the 40s are really magical because we're practicing about things. We're practicing being our whole self. We're practicing creating new friendships and learning how to connect and communicate with new friendships. And then you kind of get into your 50s and you're like, whoever wants to be on the ride, jump on. Otherwise, I don't give a shit. I don't. I like, and I come into that place of like, I am not for everyone. And guess what? Like you said, that's enough. That's okay. I don't want to be for everyone. Like, please, if you don't like me, oh my God, steer clear. It's all good. I'm like so happy to not have that.
I am just stepping into that. That has been
Yeah.
something that I have really, the last even 6 months, really, just really starting to embrace. I'm not for everyone. And there's still a part of me that when I say that, there's still a little part of me over here that's like, yeah. But I'm like,
Oh no.
no,
Say it louder, say it prouder.
yeah, I'm
Say
not
it,
for
Becca.
everyone.
I am not for everyone.
And if you don't like what I'm saying, there are a lot of other people you can go find. We're in a digital age and there are so many voices. And I think that's another thing about our culture. We are not a monolith. No one is. There's so many different journeys, and
That's
I
right.
hope you take something from my journey and it encourages you. And if you don't, go find your own. I feel really, even as our country in the United States, I feel like that's a lot of the like pulsing of what's happening with all this anger is people
Yes.
are trying to figure out how to let that go, that we
Yeah.
don't all think the same.
Agreed.
And it's, you know, you're going to rise and it's going to get a little shaky before it gets better, but we're getting there. So,
Mhm. I mean,
yeah.
it is a natural evolution, but I'm really happy for you to feel more sure-footed and to be embodied. I This morning I had a quick conversation around what is my 2026 word going to be? And I don't know if you like I don't do resolutions, but
No,
I like
the
having
word.
a theme. I like creating something for myself, goal oriented, whatever it is. And my 2024 word was receive. So when you said I'm receiving that, right? Like I receive that, that's a really it's a really important place for women to be in, especially. And because we lose ourselves within codependency and people pleasing at such a young age, it almost can't be helped. But guess what? Generation X, as parents, are like telling our kids, don't people please me. If you don't want to do something, just tell me. Because we do not want them to have that same ancestral kind of back full circle to what you were talking about. It's like that ancestral piece. And I think it's so important. So receiving was really important for me.
Yeah.
This year was the word dream, dreaming up whether it's the new podcast, whether it's the book that I'm writing, whether it's the life, the real dream is like creating this new vision after high school, after she goes, they go
Yeah.
off to high
Yeah.
school, right, in college. What does my life look like? So I've been dreaming a lot about that. And so I kind of went down this little rabbit hole. And as a writer, I think you'll really appreciate that. I was like, okay, it can be embody, it can be becoming, it can be devotion has been a word that's really sort of resonating with me lately. But so many people, and you coming from this religious archetype, right? Like true, like from
It's
from patriarchy,
it
you
is
had to define it.
patriarchal. It is submissiveness. It
Yeah.
is,
So
yeah.
devotion feels more biblical to so many people, but I don't see it that way. So then through this little exercise I was kind of doing with my friends on text, I was like, they're like, "Oh, I really like that." Da, da, da." And I'm like, "Wait, the word rooted came to me." And I was really looking at what rooted means. And I have a lot of tree symbology, like, all on my, my tattoos are
Yes.
all about
Yes.
nature and trees and the roots of a tree and what that symbolism can look like in many forms throughout poetry and stories, right? And
I'm
I'm just,
laughing because my next tattoo, I want it to be the tree of life,
yeah,
but I
that's what this
want
one
the
is.
but I want the roots to have some semblance of like a rainbow or something because
Yeah.
just to
No, no,
represent the community.
I love that. In fact, my Hebrew, it says Etz Chaim, it means the tree of life. But, and because so rooted feels like the word for me. I mean,
Mm,
so if you were to take a word, what word would maybe be your 2026 word if you were to think about it? Not to put you on the spot, but
no. That's, sorry, I don't want to have any, I'm trying to think. It's not for a lack of words, it's
yeah,
which one.
yeah,
And for me in my life, I feel like the word becoming is overused, but I also feel like in 2026, I'm becoming from a state that is new. What I have gone through, I am in the state of becoming that has a fresh base, that the soil has been tilled and worked, and there's so much potential. There's so much that's fertile that
yeah,
that becoming has so many possibilities.
yeah.
And so there's a song by Emery Hall, a spoken word piece, and she just talks about um, what will be planted in my garden and what will people see. And it has just always, I love nature as well. I love it. I have plants all over my house. I have a plant, try to have a plant in every room, a sun porch and all
The word
that.
blooming comes to me for you
I like that too.
from the roots up, right?
Hmm.
It's like if you think about like a time lapse and watching, a flower grow. I love seeing photographers who sort of do that. And
Yes.
it starts in that soil, that deep soil, that rich, and then just being nourished into each evolution of until the bud is there. I mean,
And that when you saying that makes me think about when I was young, I was always so frustrated that I was not there yet. And I don't know what there was for me as a child. but I just always was like, I just want to be there, wherever that is. I just want to be home. I just want to be, and so if you were to say that to me when I was younger, I would have been like, oh, I'm still on the journey. It's so long. But no, like that's such a great place to be. And there's so much potential that you don't always know what's going to come from those roots. You don't know how you will show up. And for me, I no longer look at that with fear, but I look at that with excitement of what could be. Um, I
I
used to
think the
really
ex- I
scare
think
me.
I think the excitement really comes from looking back 3 months ago and saying, look at your evolution. Looking 6 months back, five, you are living the life right now that you were dreaming of before, and that's a beautiful place. So it's the journey of all of this. It's like that, the transitions and the ascents and the descents. And I think really feeling gratitude for each time you've said yes to yourself.
You're gonna make me cry because literally, within 2 hours of us talking, I was walking and I walked around my dining room and I just kind of took a minute and looked around and I was like, this is what I've wanted.
Mm.
I feel like my house, I feel peaceful in my home. My kids are here. It's
Mhm.
calm.
Mhm.
I don't feel like I have to show up in any certain way that's
Yeah, you're
not
not
me.
performing for
No,
anybody.
no. I don't have to wonder when is it going to finally be where I can figure out who I am. And it's just, yeah. So that's it's very aligned with what I've been feeling for just in the last 90 minutes, you know?
I love that. And to go into this essay and talk about avoided no more, which I'm thankful. Thank you for sending this to me because
Else,
I'm so
absolutely.
excited. I haven't even read the other 12, 13 authors. I'm really excited to read them. But like it's reflective, it's filled with emotional honesty. So, what do you feel most compassion for yourself back?
I was doing the best I could with the knowledge I had
Yeah.
at that time. I did not fail.
Nope.
I've shared this on social media. I did a post and shared this, and it's gotten a lot of traction. But I really believe this that my parents probably would have put me in conversion therapy. And I am a person who has generalized anxiety, and I did not start therapy till my 30s. And I'm not sure I would have made it out of my teenage years alive if I
Mm-mm.
had been put in conversion therapy. And so, as much as I feel like I missed out on getting to experience life as a queer person, I also don't know I would have been here if I would have been
Mm.
here. Because I already had some suicidal ideation without realizing who I have always been.
Yeah.
So,
I'm so
I,
glad
yeah, me
you
too.
didn't go through with it, obviously. You have those two beautiful babies you need to parent them through these crazy times.
Yes. And so I guess there's a lot of compassion there. And that's something I want to express to people to give yourself compassion. Like you're not failing because you didn't figure it out. We don't, we see somebody else's journey and we want the excitement that I have right now. You want that excitement. But in this moment, you may be in the trenches.
Yeah.
In this moment, you still may be in a marriage or in a relationship that you feel like it's impossible. The best thing you can do is love yourself. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but it is absolutely so hard. And the first step, like you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You start finding why you think you're enough. Brene Brown, way back when, 15 years ago, um, a therapist gave me the gifts of imperfection, the first round when she put it out there.
Yep.
And it really, that therapist and Brene's work really pivoted my whole life, literally. I was leaving the church. I was angry because nothing was happening. At that time, I wasn't married yet. And I just started to learn about who I am. And it took a lot. I had to deconstruct my faith. I don't believe I would have been able to come out as queer for me personally. I know there are queer people who have faith in religion, but for me, I had to let that go because there was so much trauma in it.
Yeah, I've met a lot of later in lifers who are ex-Mormons, who are ex-Jehovah Witnesses, who are like, these are, it's a lot of unboxing. It really is.
And
So,
realizing you're never going to be, there's always, just like something I've learned, just like we're always going to be unlearning, for me, my white cis privilege, I will always be unlearning my religious conditioning.
it's true. I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, hello, we're not Buddha. We're always learning and growing. Like, if someone comes at me and they like, are like, oh, I'm all healed, I'm all, wow, biggest red flag I ever heard in my whole life right there. Because no, we're not. None of us are. I mean, I like meeting people on our growth journey so we can bend and flex together and we can give each other space to grow and we can learn not to caretake and practice these triggers and things that pop up with each other, because that's what I say. I like have a front row. My front row allows me to practice with each of them, because we all have bad days. We all get good days. We all like we get under the gamut, and sometimes a friend will say something and you're like, I don't know what to say in this moment. And so sometimes not saying anything, but if you're in a safe space, you get to say, I need a little moment to like process what I'm hearing. And doing that with our friends and the safest people we possibly can be around, is
That
healing itself. Is because my therapist also said we cannot heal to where we want to heal just by ourselves also, which is why self-love can only take us so far. And I don't mean self-love what everyone is spewing. I mean the self-love like people like you, Becca, who are in the darkest of moments. I mean, I'm great. I'm lucky I figured it out at 19. Like I've been, I have I have lesbian visibility every day, right? Like I walk out of the house and everyone knows I'm gay. Like it's not, I don't have to say it. I don't have to wear rainbow for it or anything. I just am. And I want people, and this is why living out loud, it's like, I want people to live in their most authentic space. And that doesn't mean that they have to be gay. I just want them to, if you're in an unhappy marriage, get the fuck out. Like, your kids deserve the happiest, most wonderful version of both parents, if they're lucky enough to have both parents.
and that is the lie of staying in the marriage,
Yep.
that it is healthier for the kids than it is for you to separate. My kids don't know this version. They're just learning me all over again
Wow.
because they've never seen the happy version. They've never seen the me that's not living in survival mode emotionally. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know this me. And I'm learning this new me, and I'm relearning how to talk to them. But it is such a wonderful, hard thing. And it is a lie. I just can't. It's a lie that it's better for them to stay in a marriage. And yes, they still say they wish their dad and I were together. I'm not going to say they don't wish that, because they do. Because they're kids. That's where their brain is developmentally. But they're also having moments where they're surprised by my reactions, because the other version of me would not have responded in some of the positive, exciting ways that I respond now.
Right. Yeah. So, with this book, how did you get involved with it, with all these other cool writers? These queer writers are really cool.
So I'm gonna plug the Open Book Company, which was founded by my good friend Kim
Yeah.
Marsh. Um, Kim founded the Open Book Company to be a community of writers. And when I say writers, I don't mean people who everyone has a book, everyone is always, I mean a community where you show up to be together, and sometimes the showing up is the effort. We start with breath work when we start a session, and then you write. Some people write 1,000 words, some people write one sentence, because it's about embodying and acknowledging that you're worth showing up for. So I was introduced to Kim from my good friend Tina Strawn. She is also another queer author writes one of the essays in the book. I also love the Open Book Company because we are global. We are not huge, but there are authors from all over the world. And it's been a process. We started this collection, putting it together 2 years ago, and it was able to finally come to fruition. And I think, of course, it was the right timing, because in those 2 years, Kim also started and founded the Plymouth James Publishing Company, named after her dad, who was born, or the birthplace of her dad that was born in Plymouth, England. So it is this place of coming to write without expectation, but with welcome.
Love that.
The authors are a good portion who are identify as the global majority. A good portion of us identify as queer. It does just so happen that the majority of the writers are and people assigned female at birth. And I would encourage you all first to check out the Open Book Company. And then second of all, if you're writing, if you have an inkling, I didn't start with Kim because I thought I was good. I started because I needed to get something out. Writing is how I really process and see the world. I get surprised by what comes out of me sometimes. And I'm like, really? And it opens a whole new path.
It does. I mean, you the creative project is so rewarding. And I love from writing poem because sometimes that just feels like, I don't know, it's like a quick reward, right? Like it just sort of it's just like a little dopamine kick. Like, yes, you completed something. Because when you're writing a book, like I'm, over 20,000 pages in on a book, and it's like you're just like, how, like, when is it done? Like, it's, and you know how that feels. It's like, so writing essays or writing poems, it's like, oh yeah, this is complete. Like, it's such a, like a sweet reward in that moment. It's, for
Well,
me,
and
it's enjoyable.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, someone who really, really touched my soul in their work, Andrea Gibson. A couple of years ago, I was driving my kids to a queer weekend family camp put on by Brave Trails out of California, and they're an amazing organization, and they have camps all over. Just started one here in the southeast in Georgia, and I listened to one of Andrea's books and listened to their voice, and it just changed me. And it's just the spoken word. Andrea has a gift, had a gift, but I
They
still
do.
think Andrea's spirit's here everywhere. Every time I feel like I get lost in scrolling, somehow Button Poetry comes up on TikTok and Andrea's saying a poem, and I'm like, okay, I've gotten a little tunnel vision, but then it lifts me up. So like those, we think poems are not as significant sometimes, but they can hold so much weight and meaning and redirection.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I've always loved the spoken poetry jams, the deaf poets on it was MTV, I think, back in the early
Oh my
2000s.
gosh, yes.
And I mean, I've written some recently where I'm actually looking for I want to go out and start doing that. I
Yeah.
was really inspired by Andrea actually over the years. And I think it's more like of a nod to her. Um, by living a little bit through her in that way. I don't know. I think there's so much to be said.
There's so much.
So going on that, like 2026 for you, what are you most excited to step into?
I feel I have wanted to I my this book has 14 essays and I'm one of those essays. I do have plans to write my own full book that's just me, but also part of it is I love to speak and share. And my goal for 2026 is to speak and share more.
I love it.
Is to make writing more of something that is not just I'm squeezing it in,
Yeah.
because it is so life-changing, not just because we're sharing stories, but it actually is changing me as I'm writing. It actually causes, I don't know if I have moments where I will write things and I learn from myself because I didn't know that it was in my subconscious. And then it comes out and I'm like, oh, okay, that's how I feel about that.
Liz Gilbert, speaking
Hmm.
of good writers, right?
Hmm.
She's had her fair share of ups and downs over her career, but I think the one thing that she said in on Glennon on the We Can Do Hard Things
Hard things.
podcast, and that double feature, and she said she started to journal for herself, and the question that she would ask every morning is, what would beloved, what would you have me know today? And I actually started using that, but it was interesting because it was after the divorce, and I was like, God, I haven't journaled in forever. Like we all go through, like, all right, we're in therapy, back in therapy, and
Right.
like, okay, am I really gonna do this? Like, my ex was dating a lot of different people, and I was like, nope, I've got to date me. I've got to date me. So I do
Mhm.
solo dates, I'm journaling, I'm doing all the things. But when I heard that prompt, and then for whatever reason, I was like, that prompt is really for Liz. Like Liz created that prompt for herself, through herself, for herself. It resonates a little bit for me because it kind of got me to like shake the cobwebs loose a
Mhm.
little bit.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But what I ended up finding was I was looking online, and it was kind of before Chat GPT. I was just Googling regular, and I Googled something with regards to self-love, loving me, and a song who ends up being by a queer artist, Grace Gustad. I don't know if
Okay.
you know her.
Not yet.
And it is like love, it's about loving yourself. And I cried in certain parts of this song when I'm listening to it. I was like, that's the song that opened up my journaling portal, that opened up my heart chakra portal so that I could write from the heart. So instead of asking myself, what will dear beloved, what will you have me know today? I just started listening to the song, and then I just would write. It was like for so long. And I even reached out to Grace and said, oh my God,
Yeah.
this one song, like it found me. So it was one of those things where it
Absolutely.
was for me, not,
Yeah.
all these things are working for us, no matter, because now we just say, what's the lesson? It doesn't matter. Everything is for us. It's not against us. It's not to do something bad to us. It's literally to unearth us. Again, the rooted, right? The
Hmm.
rooted, the
There it is.
tree.
There it is.
Uh-huh. It's to unearth us from living where we were. It's to shake it up and allow us to ascend. And that is life. That is Earth 101.
It is. And I think it's so hard because when we come from a survival mode mentality, we don't want to be shaken up because we have felt so shaken up by
Well,
everything
to
and we
be
wanting
fair, right?
security.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
not a therapist, right? But we've been in therapy enough, and I have a
Yeah.
lot of friends who are therapists. I think the fair thing to say is you first have to love yourself enough to find peace, to regulate your body again. When we're in that survival dysregulation, yeah, nothing can happen. Just give yourself grace for waking up for the fucking day, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
you
That's
fucking
showing
did
up.
it. You woke up, you went to
Yes.
work, you went and grabbed a coffee, you walked the dog, you took care of your kid. Hell yeah, that's a hell yes all the way
Mhm.
around.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to get to a place in order for what we're talking about here. It can't just happen when you are so dysregulated. It's unfair to ask that of you. So if the listener is listening right now who is just in the survival mode every day, don't go out and looking for comparisons. Don't look at people's feeds. Don't look at social media. Just take some time for yourself and find what, if you need to be out in nature, if you need to get quiet with yourself, do whatever you can do to start regulating your system, because that's where the magic happens. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
To
And
some degree.
there is something I was listening to a content creator, and she was talking about how she's newly out and feels like she goes on dates and talks too much about men, and she's, she doesn't know why she does this, and she's frustrated with herself. I just made me think about how I learned with anxiety. Like if I shove my anxiety down and I don't walk through it, then it doesn't get better. And so if we're sitting there shoving all these learned behaviors down, it's not going to get better. We have to walk through them. And if somebody's not for you, it doesn't matter. If it pushes them away, it doesn't matter. But in that survival mode mentality, there's this desperation that there's not enough people. And honestly, that has been one of the joys for me of realizing I'm a lesbian. Because when I had this despair that there's not enough people to date, and then becoming a lesbian and finding myself, I'm like, oh, this is pretty great. Like there is, I mean, I do have a current long-term girlfriend, but I went through that. I dated several people, and it's a journey. So it's welcoming that journey.
You can't have and enjoy the love that you now share without understanding what you even want. What's a non-negotiable? What's a requirement? What's like, you don't know until you kind of try people on for a little bit, you know? I think it's really important. Okay, so what does living out loud mean for you?
Living out loud means for me that I'm going to say the really vulnerable things out loud. I'm a person who authenticity is where I thrive,
Yeah.
and I've been blessed. And, that's such a very churchy word. am grateful to have people in my life who have called me to the table and told me when I'm not doing that, and who have said, Becca, stop doing that shit. Like, that's not true.
Right.
And but those people have also, we're in a relationship where we have earned trust. That's not just
Mhm.
anybody who walks up on the street. And that really, over the last several years, it sits in my mind when I will say something, I can literally feel a response of, that was bullshit. Why don't you really say what you're thinking? Like,
Right.
it doesn't have to be mean, but like, don't say things just to appease who you're with. Be
Right.
safe, because there's a difference between making safe choices and not. But if I show up and I'm fake
Yeah.
and I'm not living my truth, if I show up and am in a relationship and I'm just there to appease you to get whatever I need, that's not helping anybody. And living out loud means that I'm going to go and share my story at, there's a local group called Lesbian Friends of Charlotte, and they have nights, open mic nights, and they've asked me to come and speak, and I'm going to go tell my
Love it.
story at the open
Good.
mic night.
You should.
And yeah, and I've done that. Actually, I've done it a time or two, and I'm going to do it again this spring. So living out loud means I keep showing up, even when there's moments that I'm scared, and I'm learning that being scared, but there's an underpinning when I'm scared and I'm walking in my purpose. There's a scare, but there's a boldness right under it. And you all can't see my hands, but it's like I'm cupping. It's just, and then there's anxiety that's saying, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if? But that confidence, because I like myself, because I love myself, the fear doesn't mean no. sometimes the fear is just giving you a little warning to check in with yourself. Why am I doing this? Because I want to live out loud, because I don't want somebody else to be scared. I don't want somebody to be under-resourced, because if I had shared my story, then they would have a little bit more wisdom.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe it's not my story. Maybe it's your story, Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, my therapist when I was like 15 taught me, when you get scared of something, invite it in for dinner. You want to invite the fear in for dinner. Does the fear like mac and cheese? Does the fear like chicken tenders, your mom's brisket? Like, what does fear, want to sit? And it really got me thinking so early on, I'm really not fearful of much. It's like, it's kind of fascinating because it's just a mindset. Fear is just like you said, it's just alerting your body that something doesn't feel right, but it doesn't mean no. It just means whatever it's triggering within you, we have to like get to the root of that. Again, rooted, it's like we have to unearth it, I don't know. I'm not going to get out of these puns tonight. I swear to God.
I mean, they just keep coming back, so it kind of
I
feels
know, that's
intentional by the
why.
universe. Yeah,
100%. So, no, I really like all that you were saying. And at the end here, I love doing like a rapid fire. You up for that?
absolutely.
Love it. Sunrise or sunset?
Ed, it depends on the location.
You're such a lesbian.
I'm like, mountains for
Uh-huh.
sunset at the beach, mountains for
Are you even up early enough to see a sunrise typically?
no,
Okay,
I'm
so
a night
maybe,
person.
okay, so
But
you're in the
I will
sun.
get up for a sunrise, like if there's an intentional plan.
I like that. Coffee order. Tell me what you like.
Oh, um, black. Well, that's not true. I don't like fancy. I used to really like all the sugary stuff, but I don't. So it is, my girlfriend has an espresso maker in their house. And so it is a shot of espresso, an Americano mixed up, some half and half, and a little bit of maple syrup. That is their fault. They
Ooh,
got me hooked on that.
I love the maple
So yeah.
lattes. They're so good. I'll have
Hmm.
that anytime other than like a pumpkin. I rather have maple.
Yes. Oh, same.
A song you are playing on repeat right now.
Oh, can I not be the biggest cliche? Um, I want to, it, Brandy Carlisle, Church and State.
Okay.
Um, I do like Brandy's new album a lot. Also, there is a artist who I found on TikTok, and she has taken a lot of songs, and she's like, wouldn't these be better if they were sung by a woman for women? But she also has an EP of her own, and I really enjoy her a lot, and I don't want to. Oh goodness, I'm not going to be able to find her.
Okay, you put it
Okay,
in the
oh,
show
it's
notes.
Yeah, it's Keen. I'm not going to say her name. It's Things Take Time, by Kenya Osmond. I don't think I'm enunciating her first name right,
Oh,
but
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Um, 3 words that describe your 2026 energy. Back to the words.
Mm. I mean, I'm going to go with blooming. I mean, I really am. But I am really excited about 2026. I feel like I've been doing some dredging for several years now, and I just feel this enormous, like, I have arrived to the next segment of my journey. I haven't arrived, but I'm just on the next segment. Because I don't believe in arriving. I think we're
So
always
what are the other 2 words though? I gave you 3.
so blooming, arriving, and believing, because I really do believe that this is my year. And I don't mean year like stardom. I'm just believing this is the year where I really settle into me more than ever. It's that belief of just like, this is me.
I love that for you. Um, what's one thing that really makes you laugh?
Josh Johnson. One thing that really makes me laugh is my oldest, who's 14. And when they get tickled, like a real genuine laugh, like it lights me up so much. I just can't, like, I can't stop smiling and also because of the journey that they've been on as well. But
Yeah.
like, for those of us who have children or caregivers, the person's genuine laugh. And when you hear that, it's just joy. It's
It is.
just,
It's pure. I love hearing my child laugh. Like I know which friends they're on the phone with, and oh my God, it's so sweet. In fact, if I'm texting or talking to a friend, I'll be like, "Oh my God, Kaden just laughed. So cute." Like I'm just love it. I love it. Becca, I'm so glad and appreciative that you reached out, and I'm so glad to know you now. And I really, really know that in my gut, 2026 is for you. You've got
receive
this.
that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for joining us today. I'm so glad the audience, my pod squad gets to know you.
Mm, I I'm so glad to experience new community, to expand community.
Where
I
can people
really
find you?
People can find me on most social media, um, Becca Eppley, which is Becka, because I made it up in high school and I kept it. And then Eppley, which is Eppley. On Substack, my Substack is called A Mile Deep. There's a saying that Adrienne Marie Brown talked about in her book, or their book, Emergent Strategy, and talking about a mile. It's not about going the long distance. It's about being where you are and being rooted, diving deep in. And so that's where A Mile Deep comes from. But I'm on all the things. I I will admit I do love the TikTok. It sucks me in all the time. You find me more there. But Michelle will put it in the show notes. But I have a link tree that has links to all of that. There's pretty much every social media platform I'm on.
Well, thanks for pouring into me tonight and for us getting to pour into you. So that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
Have a really great evening. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
If you liked this episode, please hit the follow button and remember, sharing is caring. Until next week, stay proud, stay loud.